Good morning, everyone. Yeah, just give it a couple of minutes as usual. Past, as you know. Okay, good morning, Anne-Marie. Of course, yeah. Right, past. Let's get going. Okay, yeah, I've got a trade idea out, just like what on the screen there. It's a sell on the NZD-CHF. I think you all know by now where I'm coming from on the sell on that one. This area seems to be holding. We've got a 200-day moving average downtrend, as you can clearly see. Scrunch it a bit. Just let these guys in. Scrunch it a bit there. Yeah, it's a bit down to slightly down there. on the 100. The 50 days gone a bit sideways, but more to the point, I'm looking, it looks like a bit of a range around about these levels here. I thought of maybe a stop above here and a TP there, but I'd rather have a wider stop, hence a slightly wider TP. So to me, it was more important to have a wider stop. So we've got a wider stop above this level here, going back to just over a month ago, about 6 weeks ago, well, 5 weeks anyway. And then take it down here. But if you get knocked out here, does it matter? You still lay some buckaroos if you see the sell on this one. Just get these guys in. I'll look at the 4 hour. As it pops up, sells are coming in. And on the daily, a little bit indecisive, but at least the highs seem to be holding. So I thought that was a bad chance of a sell on this one. You probably received it, but then whether you received or not, because I discussed this morning and the office sends it out. So I don't send out anymore. Well, I post them, I have to, so I'm qualified to do it, they are. So I'll post them and then they send it out. So you should have received it. Where am I? Sorry, yeah. And then, as I say, I'm discussing that with you now. Okay, Zeph, the week before was pretty hectic for me. It wasn't too bad. Major apologies for the Friday trade. Got that one. We had a good trade week set for Friday and nearly pushed out to a couple more, but eased off because it certainly didn't go too well, the Friday one. And we had some good information on the pound in the morning, but then it seemed to be discount the mark forgotten about. Then about an hour after set the bloody trade out, the pound decided to get out of bed and jump up, which and it really jumped up big time. So it can't be just the expectation of higher inflation, which we knew about. I discussed that before. 10% was high, but you know, that inflation was already discounted, in my opinion. Why did suddenly delayed reaction? I don't know. Going close on a Friday, so I decided to leap out of bed and jump. So that was a pitiful one, that. And it was stopped out a few hours later. So that was a nasty one to finish the week on. It's like bogeying the 18th hole. It spoils your day. But anyway, some of the other trades weren't too bad. Rise and shine. Remembers it used to say that. I was in the army, to the army guys in the UK. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Get up, yeah, buggers, it's the morning. We think of that. Wakey, wakey. Hey, good morning. So you just did yourself a favor there, Seth, yeah. Anyway, Kwani likes it. Yeah, that's true, yeah. Well, I'm glad you did. Disappointing, but I still abide by the figures were there to go for it. So I don't push anything else that was good. I mean, I've got to, you know, I hate it when it goes wrong. Never mind, I go on, I'm more about myself. It's the credibility and belief. And, you know, I'm trying to sell trust here. But we all know no 100% possible. So, yeah, that was disappointing. It was a pretty good week, and that was a bit of a disappointing ending to it. Saying you have a brilliant round of golf, and you bogey the 18th job. Sort of spot, because it sticks in your memory as the last hole. You can tend to sour the taste of your beer at the 19th hole. What I mean, if anyone plays golf out there, or not so much me now, but in the past. Okay, anyway, right. So if you like it, you got the figures. If you haven't got the figures, I'll put them up. You should have received it. Cody said he's gone for it, so you should have got the figures. Okay. If you haven't, I'll put it up again. We can do it. The other one, I think, was only sent out to the VIP group, was the gold. This, I think, was sent out to everybody. I think about 500, I guess. I say I don't send it out. Remember, they've got now. I'd have to. I'll upload anyone once onto my VIP group for daily updates, that sort of thing. But I won't be posting on there anymore. Chops and changes. So if you do go above 2.5, rather go a little bit more above it, because they have an automatic filtering system that when each day is updated. And if you had 2.6 and didn't have a very nice week, and you get down to, let's say, 2.4, you'll be 2.5 is a critical line, and it'll be filtered out. You won't receive the VIP signal. So when I say VIP member signal, it's not necessarily a VIP signal. Everyone has sent out, I think it's okay. Whether it go to when you got 50 around or 50 million round, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is it's wise to make sure you bounce above 2.5, otherwise it's filtered out. And it's updated daily. So if just bear that in mind. So if you want those extra, you've got to keep it up to 2.5 on a constant basis. If you've got 5, 6, 7, 10, 50, it's irrelevant. We thought about one scratching the minimum areas for the membership. Okay, so if you want to put risk reward up, I can, but you should have all received it now. If you haven't, just tell me. Okay, right. The other one, I think, is say the VIP group. I think they've sent it to that. So if you haven't, and you're in the trading room, you like it, still do it. Okay, finally, like this 1920. So this is not 1920 yet. Remember, the spread is the difference between the bid and the ask price, or sell and buy price. To buy it, you're not buying on the bid, you're buying on the ask, which is that's 921 at the moment. So we need to get to 1920 unless you want to jump the gun. Why to buy? I've mentioned in my weekly newsletter as well, or snippet, or whatever you call it. I do see upside on the gold. Don't sell it at this stage of the game. Rather wait for the pullback and then buy. Again, that's suggesting it's up to you what you do. So bottom line is, as mentioned, I think Fond is on here. Yes, he is. A moment ago. Yes, he is. We mentioned 1920. So let's just be a bit patient, see if we get 1920. I thought of a 1900 stop, 1905. If it gets to 905, it's likely it's going to get to 1900. So I increased the risk. So I left it 905. Just remember, we had to target 1950 to make it a worthwhile risk reward. But it's still got to break through that 30 area or the previous high, slightly above that, to be honest. It's got to break through this area here to reach that TP. If it doesn't, and it's gone up $14, $10, $14, $15, whatever, and it comes off again, you might as well take it. Just bear that in mind. But keep an eye on the DXY. Okay, please keep an eye on it. If it gets to 30 and the dollar's falling, you probably push through. If the dollar starts to rise, the yields start to rise, it might pull back again. And we don't want to sort of aim for 1950, get to 1930, 35, and start pulling back. We need maybe climb off, disembark, as they say. I hope that's clear. But that's at 1920. I'll put it up for you so everyone might not have received it. It was a pending. 1920. 1905. Quite simple, easy to remember these. It's not 0.9762, whatever in the Forex, if you have to write the damn thing down. And 1950. Pretty straightforward. Remember, guys, you probably watched this year, you attend TR. There's still guys out there, let's say they use 0.03 as their sort of standard lot size, and they do it for every single particular entry. And that's crazy. You don't want to go 0.03 on the Dow or 0.03 on gold, because they're both contract size 10. The Dow's over 30,000, this is 1900. So they're phenomenal different risks. You can see it's only 25 bucks a micro. So you might have 0.01 on the euro dollar at 120, on the Dow at 380, and here 25. Radical difference. So you need to do the maths. We put in, like we really spread it out, 0.02, 0.03, I mean 0.04. And one can't extrapolate that. If you've got a risk profile of 1,000 Rand and it's 25, clearly it's 40 micros. You go 0.4, you get a general idea. It's not a standard. You got to. That's what the calculator's for. But I'm not sure people are actually doing that. I think they're just doing in their own head their standard one, and often they're highly overexposed and highly underexposed, depending on the situation. Just remember, equity management above all. It might be a slow protest because you might make only 10 units instead of 20 if you had a bigger position. But equity management is very important. We've had some good trades out lately, but it doesn't always go that way. You can get bad runs. We know the week before last, we had a bad run. So you've got to protect yourself in case you get the bad run. On non-trending days, in trading days, we do pretty good. Trending days, sometimes we get lucky, sometimes not. So we'll make sure, and if you're on the TR, I'll mention it anyway, but if you're not on the TR, just mention, keep an eye on the economic calendar, that if it's a trending day, funny things can happen. If you do like the buy, stop, sell stop kind of scenario, rather stick to the non-farms and the CPI or the US, not anything else, not the PPIs, the BBCs, the SABCs, the ITBs or whatever. You know what I mean? Just stick to maybe that. It's often those are bigger movers. You need to make it worthwhile, a decent move, otherwise you get sucked into one and nothing happening. Okay. But if we have one coming out on the fundies, we'll get into more detail. Those I know Anne Marie's tried it, knows it. Some of the other new guys might not. We'll get into more detail. But as I said, the major thing is to get more confidence and understanding of how these work. And it's a major uphill battle we've got with people who go into the room, not trading, sorry, and go into trading and they don't know the basics. And it means that we'll often misread or misinterpret something. And unfortunately, it often comes back and bites. So it's usually people who can least afford it. Always remember, if you're going to be trading, it's money you have to be able to afford to risk. If you can't do the crime, don't do the time, as they say. Okay, well, I'm just going to, while I'm on that subject, I'm just going to post the DXY for you as I normally do. And some guys obviously enjoy the new. If you have got it, obviously don't do it. I mention every time, because people double up, no, don't do that. But I'll just have that candy for you. There we are, and I'll do the DXY as well. Keep that handy. Obviously, everyone have the calculator. Everyone save your chart. Try and get a habit of reminding everybody. Save your chart, save the template, put your name down. So if you lose your charts, right click, go to templates and pick the one you like. And click on it and your charts are back up in action. Okay, so this is a pending one, if you like it. Not quite, it got close, but didn't quite get there. Let's look at this short-term momentum. It hasn't quite, keeps doing it. That's better. Because remember, you're going on the arse, not the bid. And it didn't quite get there. You can't jump the gun because it's still got a reasonable risk reward. It might be a bit of patience, and then whatever. But that's the point. There you are. There's information. Bottom line is, if you're not sure, ask. Because when you go in, remember, it is your responsibility and your decision. We suggest. So there's no good saying back and saying, send me a WhatsApp, screenshot of your trades and say, look, it's in red. I can't meet where's the magic wand. This happens. You've got to know why, etc. And get away, whatever the guys out there are telling you, you follow this, you get winning trades all the time. No, it depends what the variables are. We do our best, but it's impossible. There's millions of people, different variables, and so like that. Some people will hit the TP. I have the slightest clue. But if you understand and modify and look after, if it doesn't, you should still do okay. The other thing is modifying the TP. Some of the SL, some guys don't like it. If it comes back, stops them out, and they're all right, they don't lose, but they don't make money as it mounts the right direction. These variables, there's no 100% in any of it. That's what creates the market. It's those variables which you have to have. So just bear that in mind. And the quicker you understand it, the quicker you have a look at it, suggest, which helps us as well. A lot of the trades that go out on the system, I'm going to be one front, not mine. I have to be honest, most of them are, but not all mine. It's often TR guys come out with a trade idea. If we like it, send it out, see what happens. You're not responsible if George or Mary sends one, it doesn't work out. You can't say, well, you can't say sorry if you like it, your fault. We agreed, we liked it, and I took responsibility of posting, and then we put responsibility whether you take it or not. It's up to the person there. So you can't start throwing blame around. We're not parrot fashion, not the army. We're not your mother and father. We're not under 18, if you know what I'm saying. We'll give you the suggestions. It's usually good, but don't overexpose, because if you do, the bad one might come back and hurt too much. Get those sort of basics. Okay. Right. Have we all got that? I can knock it off. Let's discuss the dollar. I just want to do that while you put this up for you. Right, I'm just the dollar going forward. What's priced in a very, very high, not 100%, never 100%, but nearly there, high probability. On next Wednesday, I think next Wednesday, interest rate decision is very highly priced in for 0.25%. When I say 25, I mean basis points. Makes it easy to see. So 25 is almost certainly priced in for next Wednesday, and then there's another one in March. I think it's the middle, but don't quote me on that. We'll get near the date, I'll give more what dates they are. It's not near 100 bits, it's like 80% likely of another 25. There's another one following later in the year, I can't remember which date, which is a bit too iffy to look that far in the future. So we'll concentrate on the one coming up in next month, very hard, probably 25. So it looks like I have been mentioning the dollar weakness seems to be sort of starting to filter through. I've got the DXY up at the moment on the screen, and at the moment it is come back on opening this morning below 102. It's having a slight little push up. It's up and down. It's looking still a little bit on the weak side. I've mentioned it might come back a little bit further. I'm saying could be a little bit of dollar weakness going through because those interest rates have been priced in. So we could have a bit of a sideways to slightly weaker dollar coming through. The other problem is, as mentioned many times before, the Swiss franc is one of the stronger currencies at the moment, certainly most stable. That is without doubt. So if you're going to slightly, what I mentioned there about the dollar being slightly south, maybe a little bit weaker, to buy it against one of the stronger currencies, I'm not so sure the fundamental base. I'm too keen on that. Let's look at the technical. Got the day chart up. Keeps doing this to me. Hang on. Right. As you can say already, we've got a bit of indecision coming through to the upside. I get the downside. So let's try and look at the 4 hour. Again, it's trying to push up, but a few sellers on the 10 times 4 hour seems to be holding. Let's look at the 1 hour. Hopefully I'm not going too quick to see them coming from. It's pushed up a bit, then a few sellers are coming. Don't think 15 will tell you much. You remember these work on all charts. So 15 seems to be trying to hold. I'm not sure. I take where you're coming from. Let's just scrunch it a bit. You're seeing it looks like it's a bit oversold. It's come down to a bit of support there, but it's definitely in the sell area. And there's no real strong evidence technically to push up at this stage of the game. And with the sort of fundamental I've pushed through there, I'm not sure I would be, if I wanted to buy the dollar, I think I'd rather pick another currency to buy it against. So Timbo, I'm afraid to say I'm not so, I'll stand aside. I ain't selling it here, but I'm not sure I'd be too keen to buy it. That's my take, Timby. I don't know if anybody else disagrees with me. I might look at it. Remember, this is a forum, guys. This is not we just sit back and say, right, the host has got to come up, then we just follow. This is where we discuss, and then, including myself, we all learn. And people have traded in confident before, like Farley, Anna Marie, a few others, Kawani, etc. Gerard. Yeah, we got Ezef, as we all know. Even Shifra has been here for a while now. Anybody disagree with me on that, or want to sell? In fact, what's any comments on that? Sipandili agrees. Okay. Anybody disagree? Agree? Anything? We need to get more proactive in the trading room. If you're not comfortable enough to unmute and speak, some people are a bit on the shy or not confident enough, then at least you can put a comment on there, and that's how we learn. If you don't interact, you might miss stuff. So, Anthony, I'll leave it alone. Good, this one wants feedback. So, anybody else? Any comments on this one? Anna Marie? And I presume, I don't know if Dirk's on there as well, or we're both at the computer, or he's working with something. Do you disagree? Wait a bit. So I think the consensus seems to be there. It might be to hold fire on that for the moment. You second that? Okay. It seems to be wait for confirmation. Okay, so we'll just hang fire. As I said before, I'm looking to maybe we can get some areas where we can buy the other, sorry, which way right? Yeah, buy the dollar and sell the other one, like the euro, the pound, getting euro overcooked, even AUD, something like that. One possibility might be tomorrow. It's where even slightly weaker dollar, it's just, it's overcooked, the opposite side of the currency. So, but if I'm gonna do that, if I'm going to buy the dollar, I'd prefer to get a slightly weaker one than the CHF. Okay. Well, welcome you. Good to have you. Yes, we watched that earlier on. You know I am. Yeah, great to have you anyway. Dollar stopped up and it could be a good to wait. Yeah, I just said, Marius, I think there could be some sideways, slightly movement lower down, like I mentioned, the dollar. So it comes to a stage where I think it's going to be overcooked. You might take a dollar trade where you buy it and sell the euro, the pound, the AD, like I mentioned, or even the Japanese yen come to think of it. But I think the Swiss franc, I was saying, the old boxing ring thing. If you put heavyweight against heavyweight, it's difficult to call. So heavyweight against the middleweights, it's easier to call. Never guaranteed that heavyweight might not be a might have a heart attack, 100%. But at least it's serious. It makes it a little bit better to call. Sorry, just spilled some tea. Beg your pardon. Okay, right. Where were we? Oh, geez, he's quite a good player. He's having problems joining. He's having problems with his Wi-Fi. He's quite a knowledgeable guy who he gets into. Okay, right. I did have a couple others that I was looking at. Close to major support, but is that good enough for you to go for it, Fritz? I can see that, but that's all due respect, that's clear. But I mean, is that enough to say? I mean, it's pretty clear it's close support here. It went down a bit, pretty close support here. So you get the idea. Look, that's a pretty strong support. Didn't do much good there, did it? See my point? That's not good enough. You need a confirmation. Okay. I would say trying to have 2 pluses at minimum. 1 plus won't do it, and certainly not a candlestick formation. I would talk about a good time to enter on a morning or an evening start. No, absolutely, it's a confirmation maybe, but absolutely not on its own. A fib on its own to me is often not good enough. It needs to be backed up by a support or a strong moving average, like probably a 50 or a 200, and to a less extent 100. Okay, we need at least 2 thumbs up. EUR JPY for a short, AUD JPY for a short. Write that down because I've got a couple to look at as well. EUR JPY and the AUD JPY. You want to sell them both. Okay, let's see what we're going to sell now, Mr. Smith. Let's do an alphabetical order. Just make sure all the information's there, all right? Okay, so you want to sell it. Right. Before I mention that, anybody morning, Roger. I think NZDSD, David, looks like a sell for me, but if you look at them weekly, it might be a buy towards a 200-day moving average. I'll put that down when it comes to that. I feel it might be hang 5 on it. I'll put buy sell because it could be either. So I feel it might be sit one out on that one, but look at it. Sorry, I missed it, Brady, but I've got it good after these. I missed it, it's right in front of the face. I got my screen there. Sorry about that. Right, I'm on new versions. It's setting up pretty good. Okay, you're not buying that one. Well, it will be because it clearly seems to be going up for the last couple of days, trading days, that is today and Friday. A couple of guys, Marius particularly looking to sell it. Right. Well, let's first look at it together, hey? Is it in the buy, neutral, or sell zone? Well, it's below all 3, so that's a fairly straightforward question and a fairly straightforward answer. In the sell zone. Japanese yen, I think it's starting to get its strength. So there could be a possibility of maybe the AUD can gain something on that. Now, there's a bit of resistance there. We can all see that, can't we? See where that line is there. You can see all that. Look at these guys there. There's a bit of resistance there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, and just the one now adding up to 7 area of resistance. And you can see a couple of sellers come in. I'm speaking aloud. Obviously, we're practicing immediately, but I'm just voicing aloud what I see immediately so we can all learn. Partly what we're doing here is not just trade ideas, but learning strategies. Because a lot of guys are coming in from classes where they've bought the SMC product, and it's all very old to know some stuff. Then they want to get some reasonable strategies going, and that's what we look at. So you got to. I'm speaking aloud, know what I'm looking at. So there's a bit of resistance there in the sell zone. So where Marius is coming from, the sell is it's in the sell zone. It's rallied up to a support and a few sellers coming in. So it looks like at the moment support is holding. Remember, you're going short, that's support. If you're going long, that's resistance. So if you want to buy, you need a breakthrough above that. Probably want a breakthrough above here before we give you the confidence. So the sell looks like the way to go at this stage, despite the fact that somebody's in a buy. However, I'm not sure that's enough confirmation as yet to give you confidence, number one. Number two, remember the entire week. Okay, the entire week, there's a Chinese New Year, it's the year of the rabbit. Fascinating interest, I'm sure, to you all, which means not taking a day off, but taking the entire week off, which means, stuff away here to let Johnny in, which means obviously that they're going to be a bit quieter, which could affect slightly negative on the AUD. I still think the Japanese yen is getting to the stage where it might weaken a bit. So I personally, wrap it all up, I'm pro a sell rather than a buy. but I'm more saying there's a couple extra ways I'd wait. And I found that my confidence level to sell it here is dropped below 60%. I like to have 65, preferably pushing it just aggressive at 60, preferably over 70 if I can get it, percent, round about those levels of my positive compared to the negative. And I think it's to me at the moment a scratch below 60, slightly on the positive side to sell, if you know what I'm contradictory saying there, but not strong enough for me. So I'm personally going to sit this one out. Okay, anybody else, any comments? 9161, that's a slightly different story. When you look at a sell, you've got to put that information, Boris, because I assume you're looking at market. If you put in, I'm looking at a sell and you're $1 up there, I assume look at market. If you're looking at pending, it's a completely different analysis. 9161, you're looking at 9161, where is that now? Round about a little bit, what do you got there? 9161. Around about those levels, 9161 or slightly lower here. You might, even if it holds there, might get one at 9140 for a sell. If that gets to there, that's a different ball game. Now that's pushing up to probabilities of, as long as you get the confirmation. Always remember, you've got to get the confirmation. You don't want to sell it because it's there, it might shoot back up again. Now, I didn't know it's not ticking off. It's not school now, Mara. It's just to make sure it's clear. So I'm not working information is incorrect. And a lot of other guys there, haven't been trading quite as long as guys like yourself and Mike have, and we've got to be very, very much more precise. So we don't have too much ambiguity, if you're familiar with the long English word, where that would confuse a person who just start their trading journey and going in without full information. It needs to be put out so you've got the information whether you want to take it or not. Okay, and that's a completely different story. I'll be much more strongly, if it gets there, it starts coming off, I would say absolutely, yeah. The moment I'm going to sit this one out. You're out in it. Good for you, Mike. Took a profit. Okay, that's fantastic. I like to hear this. I want to hear this. If you take a knock, I mean, you've got to have the good with the bad, but we're all human. We like to hear the good news, you know what I mean? Unless you're reading the newspaper and you want to hear the bad news, that's all it's in the print. But joking apart, yeah, I like to hear that. It makes it feel all worthwhile. And for all this time and effort in, and just losing trades all the time and the negative stuff, you know, it starts thinking, bloody hell, you know. I feel it, you know, I'm an emotional person. I like to hear good news. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to set aside. Anybody, shall I move on? Anybody want to do this one at a sell at entry or a buy? Anything on it, or should we move on? It might kick in later on. If we get the better prices Morris put in, yeah, it's a ball game. I think we're all agreed on that. What was the other one you mentioned? Was the EURJPY? I can't remember where you put a sell or a buy on this. I'll have a look anyway. What do you want to do with this one? Can't remember that. You've got a sell. Actually, probably that tomorrow. We'll see what happens. So, oh, yes, a short. Sorry, beg your pardon. I take short. Trying to blast through all there. I can't remember all the stuff in the chat line. Yeah, again, I see what you're talking about. It's in the neutral zone. It's popped up. It's popped up quite a lot from 138. It's popped up 300 odd pips. It's now at a round figure. Remember, round figure 142 actual support resistance in the psychological area. There's no scientific foundation there whatsoever. It's purely emotional. But emotional, very powerful. I mentioned many times, more powerful than logic. Always so. And so that does count. Again, you probably will be looking to maybe sell it at market, or you're trying to get a slightly better price. What are you looking there? It's haven't seen a confirmation. Let's look at the weekly. No, haven't seen much of a confirmation. Let's look at 4 hour. Let's look at the 1 hour. We haven't got any confirmation there, so I wouldn't be selling it. I wouldn't be selling it as yet. There's no confirmation, but what can I say? There's a possibility it might come off, but I personally wouldn't be entering now. I'm looking for confirmation, unless you've got a pending up there. Yeah, Kearney made a point there. Please remember, if you're going to do trade, it's not a question, have you got enough free margin or is have you got enough free margin left over after you've entered that other trade? Always remember when you've got it, just say, oh, I've got another few bucks in it, I can afford to take the margin on that one, so I'm going to get another trade. Now you've got tiny free margin. Even if you're right in the trades, the noise will knock you out with a margin call. You must keep free margin in your account. Remember, you're on derivatives, you're on leverage trading, you're on areas where you put your deposit down, control a large exposure. So a tiny movement in the exposure with a bigger movement to you because you only put a small deposit down. So you've got to keep that handy. Remember, the deposit or margin is purely collateral to the lender, like deposit you buy a car or a house. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Nice to have you, Merrill. I didn't say Merrill Barnard, the one I speak to, or the chat line, or well, the WhatsApp rather this morning. If it is, great to have you. Okay, so yeah, absolutely, Tony, I agree. Are you in the market? Yeah, I personally, well, come off a little bit. 142 might be holding. I'm not too sure. I'm not keen at the moment. It has had a bit of a run. That is due for a pullback. I agree with you. But if a pullback enough to justify the trade, and can you get the risk reward? If you can aim down there, it's 110 pips. You need to stop up here. You're going to battle the risk reward. And I don't want to try to stop them that. In fact, you're really going to battle. And you can't have it up here, you will not get one. So you really got to slightly below above this guy here. You might battle the risk reward. I personally think keep your fingers crossed for Marius, but I'm going to leave this one. Keep your fingers crossed for Pete as well, guys. There you are. I'm leaning towards what you're doing there. This stage again, risk reward might be, but it's come off a few pips. You might get lucky. So I'm expecting my decision on that. Okay, sorry guys, moving along. NZD USD, a buy or a sell. Remember, that's not so much affected by China as the Aussie. Bear that in mind. It's reasonably strong at the moment. I think there might be some better fish to fry against the dollar elsewhere. Is it due for a pullback against the dollar? I agree, but have we seen any confirmation of dollar weakness? Sorry, an increased dollar strength to justify that pullback? And I can look at the buyers and sellers. They're not too sure either. Popped up, I agree. Sellers came in, but I think it's more nerves. You know, because it's so high at the moment, people get a bit nervous. But they're a little bit nervous to sell it because you look at the DXY. Remember, it's a highly traded instrument. We don't have it as a tradable instrument. That doesn't matter. We can have it to look at. And in people saying, "Hang on a minute," we know they will know what I mentioned to you guys about the programmed in or discounted in the market, the likely small interest rate increase over the next two FOMC sessions. So interest rate decision in the US. So I think it's a little bit early to jump in on that as a sell. I'm not going to buy the dollar just yet, but it's setting itself up for, I think, a decent pullback to get a trade. So I'm just going to hang 5 on that one personally for the moment. For a buy, look at that candle there. Look at the previous one. What have we got as a target for a buy? 60 pips is not enough. I'm not even looking at a stop loss on that, unless you can find better, something like the longer term. If you're looking at a longer term one up to there, of course, on the weekly with a stop down there, you can. It hasn't really got going, and it hasn't really got going since that area going back to April, which is now 8 months ago. Is that right? 9 months ago. 9 months ago. So I think I'm just going to be a little bit wary to buy it on this session. Sorry, sell it here, unless you're looking to say stop up here, do the TP down here. You could probably might squeeze it on a longer term. If you want to look at a longer term, you might squeeze it. No. A little bit. I think, Brady, I think so, yeah. Now, again, let's say longer term. That's the beauty. That's why everyone kills, steals, fraud, risks, do everything, you know, sell their kids, sell their wives in some countries or whatever for money. Because if you've got a decent sized account, you can take a short and a longer term one. The longer term one, you've got plenty of free margin and you can let it run and you might be in there 2-3 weeks. All right, some swap fees, but that's peanuts to ride a longer term one out. and you got a very wide stop for the noise, you could do that. You can say, right, I'll do a longer term one there because I'm cringing a bit of strength of dollar creeping in down the line. So I'm like, what are getting that now? If it jumps up another 60 pips, doesn't matter. I've worked out my risk reward. I've got a 100 plus pip or 120 pip or 150 pip, something like that. Stop loss right out the way, but I can afford to have that kind of risk. And I'm looking at maybe 250 TP, and I might be in for a while, but I know that, and I've got the money to do shorter term and do a few shares and commodities or whatever. The problem is, so many guys are starting off with, I'm going to say it as it is, ridiculously small amounts of money, whether they can afford it or not, or they can't afford more, or they're scared to put in more, or because there's so much expenses, the school fees and God knows what else is coming out, even though there might be unreasonable salaries as a disposable income. And unfortunately, it's the way it is. You're very limited in what you can do. You can't diversify. Often you can't go more than one particular one at a time. So you can't, you can't diversify your risk. I don't know what that means. I don't know language to put it. You can't diversify. You're limited in position size. Everything is limiting because the capitalization is short of capital. And those sort of other options, which the advantage of having decent capital gives you, you don't have. But that big as it may, you can't sort of print money, so you've not much choice in the matter. If you have, rather get an account that's, you can play around with. If you've got very small, I'm going to be upfront, guy. The odds are against you. I'd say, let's not fool ourselves here. You're undercapitalized. You're running with guys who've got more than you have. You're going to battle to keep up. Just bear that in mind. So you've got to be ultra cautious and only trade now and then, and it's already got in minuscule positions. So your returns are going to be resulting very small indeed. And a lot of effort's got to put in for such a small return. Don't think if there's nothing wrong with you buying a 10,000 Rand motor car, but you cannot compete with the bloody top of the range Mercs. It's not going to happen. And I don't mind saying, we'll start to see what happens. There's too many guys coming in and buying a 10 grand motor car and looking disappointed when it doesn't have the performance of a top of the anybody Merc or whatever, or a BMW. It's not going to happen. Must employ common sense. You play with the cards you're dealt. Don't expect miracles. Okay? Then you're going to be disappointed. Now, somebody once said to me the other day, I put 2.5 grand in. I don't want to get greedy. I want to make about 5,000 Rand a week. Well, if you did that, by the end of the year, you'd be a trillionaire. Not billion, trillionaire in dollars. With that kind of return, and didn't want to be greedy. In fact, you'd be a billionaire in 6 months. Okay. Not bad game for 2,500 Rand, billionaire in dollars in 6 months. Okay, just use a little bit of mathematical sense here. Always look at it and don't expect the impossible. Right, so NZD, if anyone wants to do it, I can do. I'll put the figures up, but I'm going to sit fine on this one. Anyone to buy or sell this one? Right. Okay, euro dollar. Euro dollar, I think it's a more potential, but I was looking at this euro and the pound dollar for maybe a possibility of the Aussie maybe coming in tomorrow. It's attacked the 1.09. Let's go to the weekly, but it hasn't really given me anything yet to jump just yet. I just say there could be a little bit more pullback on the dollar before it's sort of around. Maybe you can come back to 100 I mentioned before we get some movement up. And if that happens, you might get a 1.91 or the sort of the weekly. Somewhere around about these sort of levels, you might get it there, 1 point or even higher, maybe 1.1, something like that. And then you see some movement up. It's moved up to that level here, might be in sort of a few days hence. 1,500 pips, it will start attracting sellers. No other reason is high, nothing else. So I think the possibility to keep an eye on it might be tomorrow, it might not. I have no idea, but I think it's a possibility, but I'm not keen enough just yet. Enough confirmation, jump the gun. Okay, thanks for feedback, Marie. So I'll move on anyway. Sometimes it takes too long to get a reply, so we give all an upset to move on. But always go back if you want. Okay, so a euro dollar, certainly not buying these levels, that's really overcooked, but I'm looking to short it, but I want to, not now. Okay. Okay, I got a couple out here for you. Well, I say a couple, I mean one actually. Euro AUD, guys, in the morning meeting before I spoke to you guys, our meeting that is, were, for whatever reason, they said they want to wait, I don't know. So I said, I'll discuss it with you guys. Looking at EUR AUD on the weekly, not so good, but I looked at the daily and I thought potential of a buy. Is it a buy? Euro AUD, is that right? Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, didn't look familiar at all. Beg your pardon. I looked at this as the possibility of a buy. Done that a couple of times, just to remind me, guys, I wasn't the wrong one television. They're giving a phenomenally brilliant analysis. No mods here, my friends, on the wrong damn instrument. Oh, another tip, don't forget, when you go into something you haven't used for a while, go to the forum and dap back again, just to make sure the info is updated. Make that mistake. Given information and given the thought that, and suddenly the data's not through, and then it comes through, it's a completely different setup. So I saw this as a potential upside. Let's go to the weekly. I think everyone's seen it clearly what I mean by that. Let's look at the weekly. That seems to be, oh, that's a 10 weekly, not the 10-day. Look at the quick look at the 4 hour. It's come off a bit. It tried to push up. So it might come back and hold. But anyway, the hour maybe attract some buyers there. But I thought there was a possibility around these levels there might be some upside with a stop down here somewhere. And then the TP would have to be around about there somewhere. Maybe one for confirmation. I would not say that's blaming at all. I think that's probably correct. But I see there might be a possibility of upside here. It has broken through a little bit today. I get that. And it hasn't had much follow through on the upside. You see what I mean? To go back to the hourly chart. It did move up as we spoke. And that's had a bit of a pullback, but it's maybe a couple of buyers are coming in, maybe. Anyway, I thought there was a possibility on this one. What do you reckon? Some upside on that. Anyone like to look at this one? If we like it, I'm going to put on the trading support WhatsApp group, and it could be sent out. But it might be sent only to the VIP guys. That's everything. Guys are 2.5 actually. And we have another one for £1 million random. I can call that the rarefied atmosphere group. That's Shifra. She's the million. She's in the rarefied atmosphere. She's got over 1 million in, so she's doing fine. Or was that the demo? Only joking, Shifra. Okay, where are we? Right, Mr. Ward. I think put this down below here. What can we do? How far is that? Not too tight. That's good enough, yeah. And then 80, at least we need at least 120, 140, something like that. Somewhere around about that level, 1.15742. Is that correct? Yeah, maybe a scratch high. Get a reasonable one there. There we are. What about that? $100 a micro. Anyone like the look of that one? I have to say I quite like it. But am I on my own on this one? Anyone want to look at any shorter term, longer term? Make your mind up? Or are you doing that furiously in front of your laptop as we speak? Brady likes it. What about you, Shifra? Like it? Remember, Shifra has done it for a while. You know, she's been doing this, I don't know, a fair bit now. So it's important to hear from, I explain that. This person, I'm not saying I fancy, I'm doing this for a week. You know, it's like saying, what do you think of America? I spent 2 days there. Well, you know what I mean? They'll be doing it. So I've got some idea. Brady obviously got some idea, we know. So let's see who else likes it. It's good enough for me anyway, but nice to some other people like it. I get that. Bit of moral support, I'll post it. Yeah, unfortunately, situation on the FTSE and the indices, there could be a little bit more move up with this weaker dollar before it comes back off again. It's a bit of a pity. If you want to wait on that, fine, no problem. Okay, what we're getting at 1.156. 1.5520. 1.5747. That's the 4-hour. Okay. Okay, I'll go. Great. Thanks for the support there, Mark. The hour. Sort of a bit abrupt, Mark, when I said it might be right on the pound or whatever. Bit abrupt there, because I was actually bloody irritated with that. Because you mentioned, was it sometime some strength coming in over the inflation, but I thought that was discounted the market. Remember, it was 9 o'clock when the stuff came out. Why did it suddenly jump an hour after the trade went out? And so I was actually quite bloody miffed, shall I say, irritated, better word. So I was a bit abrupt with what's happening. I was bloody irritated with it. It suddenly shot up, and I don't know why it should do that suddenly. I mean, we knew about the stuff you mentioned, discussed earlier on. Why do you sort of wait for us to put the trade in and then react? You know what I mean? Just very irritated. You say, like having it bogey the 18th hole after a great round of golf. It's annoying. But a good week, that's sported. Okay, right. So, do you like it then? Do you like it, Mark? Do you like it, Mr. Bomizi? Find your first name a little bit difficult for me. Might right. Okay, I'm going to see if the other guys like it there. In the office, happy to post, and I'll give them all the rest for it. Takes a few minutes to do it, but so be it. Yeah. Yeah, some new names are coming in, so just bear in mind some new guys coming in here. Just to say welcome, any new guys. I don't know the extent of your experience, whether you trade for a while or whatever, but I just still saw a couple of new names come in. Welcome. Just give the rules of the chat. Well, a big word for it, but idea of the trading. It's a trading area. It's not a training where we're going to teach you what a Bollinger Band is. But we can clarify if you're not sure of something. We interact. It's like a forum. It's ongoing. We have it every day. And don't expect to, build Rome in a day. Pick it up as you go along. But all I ask is you can unmute. But if you're not speaking, you've got background noise, please mute yourself. It interferes with the trading room. And you can post in the chat line any questions or queries, and I'll try and assist. If it takes too long, you might have to go to a class or two. But if you don't know how to operate the platform, you don't know what a lot size is, you don't know what a CFD is, you need to do a couple of basic classes. Otherwise, this might be a bit much for you. But I can't work with you if you don't sort of state where you come from, and don't let drag it out of you. state clearly, I'm a beginner, but I've done this class and that, blah, 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 and then we can help you out. You must all have the risk calculator, position size calculator, which you can get off the live chat at tech support. If you haven't, please get it. And remember, that's the laptop. Phones, you've got to find an app for that. Just bear that in mind. Should I place it? Well, it's up to you. I can't say that. It's entirely up to you. I can't say, oh yeah, you must do that one. You can't say that. I'm saying that a couple of guys, I've suggested it, and yeah. So if you like it, that is your decision. If you don't like it, don't do it. If you do like, do it. But then it's your decision. If it goes pear-shaped and you got the wrong risk reward and all the rest of it, so it's not our fault. You've got to get that yourself. You know, you eventually make a decision where you're going to buy the product or not, which suggests it's a good one, but it's still your decision. So yeah, very important. That's why I restrict that those are qualified to give that advice. And the reason is because you don't like the trade, then you come back and attack and say, well, you know, at least I'm qualified to do it. It goes wrong, which I hope it doesn't at that point. Okay, so let's see if that is okay. Okay, see trading. Okay, right. Just a second. US dollar CAD. I'll just knock that off. Okay. Well, I've got that. Knock that off. Right. Dollar CAD. Been a bit weak lately, the Canadian. And my problem with the Canadian is it's been following the US dollar in a lot of ways as well. So if you look at a weakish American dollar, which is happening at the moment, even with the oil price going up a little bit, look at Brent in a minute. I hit the TP. Remember that trade we had out last week and the Brent hit the TP? It's all right. And we had a gold trade out at the TP as well, so that's not so bad. But bottom line is, if dollar weakness seems to Canadian as well, the dollar strength, a bit of Canadian strength, so it makes it a bit awkward. It's in the neutrals, it's definitely viable or sellable. It seems to be holding that support. So it could be a bit of a move up. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I did view. Yeah, I like it. I have to say I like it. But whether I like it doesn't mean to say it's going to come right. I want to be everyone, you guys, everybody. The old guys know this, but the new guys, just because I like them, say it's going to come right. You know, look at that one I had on Friday. I like that one. Look what happened to that one. So it's still your decision, but I do like it. There are a few buys coming the 4, I'll give you that. Few on the while, for the 15-minute. Seems to be a few coming in. Is enough in such a short term to justify a move back up at this stage? I'll be honest, I think we might get a bit of sideways here. But I don't know what your account size is, but most guys haven't got an account size that large. They can sit in something for the next week or so. Means they haven't got enough free margin to anything else, and they're sitting with it. Why is it going nowhere slowly? Yeah, I think we might get a bit of sideways there. If you look at the 4, I popped up, sellers came in, popped down, buyers came in. Could be a bit of sideways. They're pretty evenly matched, these two currencies. That's my problem. Remember the old boxing ring, Robert? You want a heavyweight against a middle or a lightweight, and they're pretty evenly matched. They're fairly light at the moment, if anything. It used to be the heavyweight division. They're a bit lightweight division at the moment. I think they're pretty evenly matched. You might get a little bit of a move up, but will you get a risk reward to take it up there? How far is that? It's 20 pips. That's not a trade. Not enough. Not enough meat on the bones. It's like trying to eat crab. You know, you try to eat crab. What your side plate of all the other stuff is it's a performance. Did once in Sagres, actually, in Mafuku. I had crab there. Delicious, but what a performance to get it to be on. Unless you're an expert, which I suppose I'm not. Anyway, that by the by. Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be enough upside to justify. If we aim at there, even that's only 50 pips. You've got to start making it worthwhile aiming there. Do I see enough to push by the dollar? I'm not too sure. I'm not keen. Bottom line, I think sideways, there's not enough upside to justify the potential at this stage. So I think I'm going to sit on the side of that. I don't think I know I'm going to sit beside it. That's my decision. Okay, Robert, hope you're happy with that. Have a quick look at Brent in the meantime. I don't think many people are. I'm too right, Robert. Nobody wants to make a loss, but at least you're getting somewhere. Going nowhere, as you can say. I'll just post something. Thunderbolt. Name. Yeah, nobody likes trades going sideways. That's as bad as it gets. Always imagine getting the car, switch on the engine, put the foot in the accelerator, and not letting in the clutch. And it makes a lot of noise. You're not going anywhere. Okay, so we'll move on. Brent, I looked at earlier. I think we went for a breakthrough. I mentioned my weekly analysis that I expect we might get a pullback first. The daily, you see what I mean? I saw a bit of a pullback. It was there at the week, close there, and then ignore this one. I do my week analysis over the weekend, and it might get posted out sometime by the office. No, I have good point there for you. Good point to do that now. And then they will post it out to Instagram, whatever. Okay, look at that in a moment. What's on that one? Good point. Yeah, so I thought it might be a pullback. So far we've had a little bit of a pullback, which I don't want to sell this one. I want to buy the pullback at this stage, but maybe we can get it down here. It's about $3. If you sell it from about here with the stop up here, it's a bit tight, $2. Squeeze it, then you're looking about $3.50. So just about squeeze it, but could get there in a range, but it could come down halfway and then push through. A little bit of strength coming on the oil price there. So I think rather wait for a break above here or a buy down here. But we had a TP hit trade last week. We had a trade out, hit the TP. So that was quite nice. I think guys, we took it, well, should have made money on it. That's a smile. No, we haven't. We can look at it. I'm sure you mean a buy on the CHFJPY. Okay, all right. So that's a possibility. Keep an eye on it. Coming up. Right, where are we now? CHFJPY. Yeah, we're on the daily. Yeah, I see a possibility of that one. We might get a pullback first from profit-taking pullback. I see the strength in it. But so we can buy the profit-taking pullback, or we can buy the breakthrough confirmed. If it goes above, comes back, tests it, start moving up. We get it about there, stop down there, and take it up here. We've got a possibility set up here. I would be going in now view. I like the look of it. I've done pretty well. Touch wood, I'll continue on this one. I haven't sold it for a while. And I'm not looking to sell it yet. I'd rather buy the pullbacks. So just wait for a bit more of a confirmation. I looked at it last week and I chickened out, to be honest, and it returned. It would have been very good. It's easy to say afterwards, of course. Okay, so this one here, I'm going to pass on the responsibility to keep an eye on it and keep reminding me of it. Okay, I've got it written down anyway as a possible one, but I think we'll just count 5 for the moment. Okay, but I like it for you very much so. Anybody want to enter now, or anybody want to wait for, like I mentioned, pullback or a breakthrough? That's just my opinion. Somebody might want to go in now. Like Morris has his own ideas. Sometimes Pete does. I've been doing it for experience for a while. And then someone says, no, I think it's okay to go in now. And they might be right. You are CAD? No. Put it down. Okay, we're agreed on that, Sean. Looking for shorts, thanks. Always remember you got to say what you're looking for. Are you already in, or you got a pending short, or going at mark? Well, just whatever you're looking at. Okay, they just put the instrument down. I want to know what you want to do with it. Fantastic. Okay, we'll move on that one. Next one was a CAD JPY. I missed that. The reason is I think most people just had a loss on the might be too to go in again. So I left it alone back down here on Thursday. I thought potential upside. One of the two of the guys thought downside. I wasn't too keen. Well, as it turned out, the upside was the way to go. It was 94 somewhere around there. Now, what's the story here? I'm a little bit nervous of buying it here. The yen is still okay. Still okay. It's still strongest. The Canadian, like from the dollar, is still a bit weakish. I'm still a bit nervous of buying it, but I'm not confident enough to sell it. So I think for me, I'm not that keen on this one. It used to be my go-to trade like CHF JPY. At the moment, I'm not so keen. Got more nerves to sell the Swiss against JPY. Selling the Swissy has worked for a lot of times. It always makes me. I'm not a keen seller of the Swiss, but unless some fundamental indicator tells me to do so. Okay, yeah. So this one, I'm personally giving it a miss. Who's the man brand? Okay, I mean on the daily. You mean on the dailies, yeah? Yeah, okay. Well, clearly you have to wait till after midnight. Okay, good enough. EURCAD, a while back, did all right. I think it did okay. So we got stopped out in the profit for a number. I was a little bit way back actually. I can't remember. Anyway, do you want to continue buying it, or are you looking for this one up, or are you looking for a bit of a pullback? You're looking for a pullback. Okay. Bit decisive today. Very much in the strong zone. It's going to break the 10 to make it worthwhile. How far is it down to the previous? Yeah, I've got a decent bit of downside to there. That's not going to work. You have to put the stop here. You should take a deeper TP down there. To me, at the moment, it can go either way. This could go either way. This could go either way. Who likes to look at this one? Who likes to look at this one? No, we'll put it down there. Do that. Thought it was a good short actually last week. I think it was that one. Side against it, probably just as well. You look at a G. I mean, look at it, but what do you want to do with it? If you want to look at the buy or sell, just put that down. Okay, happy that's that. You're independent. That's 100%. Right, Zeph's going to sell it. I'm checking out. Anybody want to join Zeph? If you do, I'll put a risk reward up. In the meantime, before we just post where you want to buy or sell the pound. Yeah. Anyone want to join Zeph for the sell?
Jeff again of it.
Ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to join whoever's speaking there? Yeah, you want to stop above there, clearly on the weekly I agree. I was looking at. Put it above there somewhere. Need a wider stop going above there. Do the 4 if you like. Mark quite likes it. I put a risk reward up, guys. I've clearly stated my case. If you like, I'll do that with pleasure. Want me to do it? I said, put it up, see if you like. Should we do the weekly for the stop? And it's rather have it above there. And you get TP down here. 1.1460, that'll do. You can make it slightly tighter, TP, if you want. Maybe that'll do. So if you like it, great. Doesn't look too bad in the weekly, I agree, but I think I'm just a little bit indecision. I think I'm just going to hold for a moment. If we can get a bit higher in the euro, then we can start selling against the CAD, selling against the US dollar. We've got a few options there. 14424. Do you like this one? Well, you can do what you like, Seth. You're a free trader. You can put whatever you like. I'm just picking up for you guys there. I don't want to follow those guys. I'll write it down. Mike likes it. Mark likes it. Put it down as F trade, see how it goes. Four, 5, 4, 6. Okay, well, those who want it, there it is. I'm going to stick my guns. I'm going to give this a miss. For those who want it, there it is. I've got it written down. Refer back to, see how it goes. Right. Hello, Ken. It's the same Ken. Hello. How's it? Yeah, the daily double bottom is a long time ago. It's right down there. If it rises, it could come back there. And the double bottom is all great for a buy, but you know, if it's gone about 150 pips, you can put it behind you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, because you're getting what's called paralysis by analysis. Don't get overwhelmed. Cut something out. All right, that's double bottom. That was Wednesday, Thursday last week, and reacted to the move back up again. Forget about it now. Rather look at what it's doing at the moment with the potential highs there, with the potential likelihood of a pullback. Look at the euro at the moment. It's getting a little bit on the overcome side. I think it could be still a bit of upside. We're looking at the weekly, remember, and that's why these guys are looking at it from a technical perspective. I'm just thinking I'm not that comfortable yet of buying the Canadian as yet. Well, we've got a few guys, so let's see how this works out. Those want it, take it. We've got it written down and refer back to. Whether I miss out, not my problem, not yours, if you like it. But just say their view, and guys, don't get paralyzed by analysis. You can put all sorts in, then you'll never trade because you want every single one to point in the right direction. You wait a year for it, and it does, and that one goes wrong. Well, it looks like I got some followers there, Zeph. We've done it before and done pretty good, so I'm more than happy. Like I say to guys, it's not about an ego, it's about always trying to get together where we can win. If I get it wrong and the majority go the opposite, get it right, so be it, you know. Hey ladies, the trouble is after time our male egos get in the way, try and put aside the male ego and say, right, we're all together. If I'm the only one going long and everyone else going short, well, I'm happy for you guys, that's great. First to put my hand up, well done. Not many at the moment, no. Just talking about that's the beauty. Not many. Don't forget, as I mentioned, Chinese New Year throughout the week, not just one day. The whole week's off in China. It's Chinese New Year, market China closed. No particularly. I think there might be something tomorrow. I'll do a thing again tomorrow. I'll check again. Anyway, okay, so a few guys doing that. Well, no one's giving the upside that they like. The trade I put there with the Euro AUD one. I think it was that one. Was that one? Yeah. I'm too keen on it. Anyway, I haven't had a reply. I posted on to the office to say whether to give a thumbs up, and I give all 0.234. I just wonder why that's necessary. Surely you can work it out. It's 154 a micro. Why should you have to have 234? If it's 154 a micro, clearly it'd be 300 for 2, 450 for 3, and 600 for 4. A calculator, I can do it top of my head from practice, but calculator, I might have to spell it all out. But guys can't do without. I don't really understand how the derivative markets are all complex and molding 155 by 2. Can't do without it written down. I'm wondering if you actually managed to do the euro dollar. It's more complicated than that. What's called the derivative markets. Anyway, reduce the. Otherwise, the problem is they all just all go 0.01. Never mind what. I don't know why they can't just work it out. If you risk $5,000, why would you go 0.01 if there's 2,500? That one can't quite fathom. 150 a micro, that's all you need, and you can extrapolate through the amounts to commence your own risk profile. If that's too much, you should consider getting them out math scores rather than doing this, because you could trip up. Yeah, we've got the one on the screen we're talking about here. Good for you, Maris. That's good to hear. Excellent. So look at that now. We've got that still moving up a bit. Well, I presume went a little bit early because it hasn't moved up that much. It's come off a bit, unless you're selling it. Come off a bit. I mean, I don't check if you're selling it or not, but I mean, yeah, it might come off a bit, but no. I'd be nervous to sell it, but if you're selling it, it's coming off a bit. I'd rather wait to come off to buy it rather than just selling it at the moment. But if you're taking that risk, it's coming off. I'm more than pleased. It's brilliant, in fact. Don't tell me mine's going bloody wrong now. It's my idea. Euro, what was it? Euro AUD. That's starting to come off now. Maybe you go with Zeph. Ignore me. Yeah. That's probably what I have to come back to, because as soon as you set the 5-6, come back again. Because we looked at buying this one, didn't we? Yeah. Well, after Friday, this one, maybe we should swap sides, Zeph. You sit here. You host. Okay. All right. In the meantime, GBP JPY. Somebody asked, so I can't remember what you want to do with AUD CHF. No, we can do that. AUD CHF for what? We've got to put down, what do you want to do it? Zeph, yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, just what my roundabout say, well done. If we always put down, I'll analyze it, but I need to know which way you want to go. So, let's sell. Okay, ZDCH. GB, okay, this one here. What do you want to do? Just shooting up and bugging our trade up to 1 hour. Bugging our trade up on Friday. Is that one? What am I? Rather forget it. Or the CHF or something, or AUD, whatever. But this one has gone up a bit. It's coming off a bit. I'll just leave the panel alone. Leave it alone. Unless someone go more depth, leave it alone. NZD CHF. That's a possibility. We might get a short out of that. And we got one there. Yeah, we got one. A pending sell. Yes, we've got a pending sell on that one. We should have. What does set it up here? 0.6 or something. Looks like we might have missed that trade. How did I miss that? No, we didn't. 59.39 to sell. We got one. You should have received it. You not received it. It was sent out this morning. I thought it rang a bell. I think it was sent this morning. It's about breaking even at the moment. We've got to sell on that one as we speak. Copy down for you, show what I mean. Trying to find it. Hang on. Should have received that. I don't know why you didn't, but there it is. Okay, well, seems to be about breaking even. We had the, as you know, Brent and call it TP, but the AUDs popping around. I think most guys might be out of that. It's in a bit of a profit as we speak still, but it's back into get going. You see from those candles, it's really back into get going. At least it's in the correct direction for what we want it to go in, but it seems to get, as soon as it gets above 108, starts getting moving, pulls back a bit, seems to be jumping up and down. I don't know if anyone's still in it, and I just got fed up and taken profit. I don't know, but it still seems to be sort of okay. Decent profit. Okay, and you missed NZD. Yeah, we got that out as a sell for you. I haven't posted to you if you missed it. I think it was sent out to everyone. It should have done anyway. Let's have a look. Euro AUD looks like it's not looking so good. So just as well that it was posted today. Going to follow that one. I'm not so happy with. It might come right. Who knows? 15 minute, any buyers coming in? Yeah, that's just decided. Since Friday, it seemed to happen, eh? So that's not a bad idea. I mean, it listens to me and goes the opposite direction. The CHF JPY, is it coming off as well? For the short term, get more clarity. Yeah, coming off a bit, popping up there. But anyway, and Brent, when he pulled back on Brent, not much at the moment, hovering. That's about me run out of ideas, actually. What about the gold? Did it come back at all? I don't think we got an entry there on the 15 minute. Didn't we get an entry there for the gold? Yeah, I should have just got in. But what's this now? 45, 30, 15. Yeah, it should have got in around about 10, 15, it's something like that. And I took that trade, but it looks like we got the entry. It came back to 20. So no one took that trade. He should be in. He should be up at the moment. Okay, that's good. That will be sent to the VIP group, so I know Farney's on it. He's such a nice guy. Even got one round, I put you on it anyway, Farney. I'm really kidding. I've got no choice. The group, I've got no say in that. It's filled it out for the amounts I've said, and the guy sending it out is just told what the filter is, and that's it. It's updated every day. So yeah, that seems to be coming right. So that's good. So that gold one's coming right. The other one, which is posted to DCHF, it's not losing, not doing it, which is at least not losing it over the bright side. And they didn't take a lot of notice of that. The reason now it didn't come back to me on it was the fact that it ain't happening. So anyone took that, it's a bit of a pity, that one, but it's not happening. So you can be highly fed up with me again there, Marcus Teixeira. Highly fed up with me. The Friday was bogey the last hole, and today is like the 19th hole saying we've run out of beer and wine and whiskey. That's so anyway, trying to make light of it, pretty irritating. We'll see. What's the stop? 47, just pray on that one. Highly annoying. Well, quick going into the close, look at some of the CADs we got out. Started with Apple. Apple did okay, then it popped up. There could be a little bit more up with the weak dollar, etc., on the NASDAQ before it comes off again, but it popped up. I'm just going to get the information in front of me. Apple, yeah, things about 136-ish, something like that. I'm trying to find it there, if I remember rightly. But anyway, it was doing well and popped up. Amazon was doing brilliantly, got down to 93 and popped up. Let's just get the right information on here. And it popped up. Remember, got right down here, as you see. It's popped up, but let's see what happens later on. We're doing well. The one we are doing well, one was stopped out. Sorry, you have to remember, Google was stopped out. Not quite why that did so well. But it's fairly tight stop, to be fair, but it was stopped out. That was on Friday. Sorry about that, guys. The others were doing okay. Obviously, GS is doing good. That did just nicely. 353, $10 good profit, so you can get a bit more. So we did very well on that one, and that makes up for the Google and the Microsoft. I will do the Meta first. That was just doing fine, and then it popped up again for some reason. That's slightly down, but see if it can come back again. And Microsoft, I think most people took the profit. Got in, I think it's that. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, we got in. We made a good profit on Microsoft. Get ahead of it now. Yeah, 242 came off beautifully to about 230-ish, and then some guys are stopped out and modified stop loss. You should probably most of you be out of that, I think. In a nice profit. GS and Microsoft went like a Boeing, and yeah, and the others still okay, but Google didn't do too good. Remember the idea in industry, what we look at is 2 out of 3. So on that basis, we're okay. So we can get a bit better. Well, we look at it quickly. We haven't had any other options, so we might as well go into the close, look at it. No problem at all. No. As I said, on the weakness, we might get a bit more upside on the NAS. Let's start on the NAS, because it's obviously a NAS stock. With a bit of a weak dollar, seems to be hovering at the moment. We might attack 12,000, but it seems reluctant to get mo. That's just telling them they're a bit nervous of buying it, but they're a bit nervous of selling it. You can see that's going on at the moment. Okay, so I thought there might be a possibility up to this sort of level here before we get to sell it down again. But either way, we'll be buying what's still at the moment. But this is trying to with a weaker dollar, but and then again, sellers seem to come in. If it breaks back below 11.5, we're on the way back down again, which will help looking at the Google for another entry. Lost last time, might win this time. I cannot tell what's going to happen in the next few hours. Where the decisives comes about by the big boys, so probably see what happens at 4:30 opening before we get too cute on it. For me, I'm guessing big time at the moment, and I'm going to be quite openly, Peter and company, ain't good enough. I'm not going to guess with your money, you know what I mean? Guess with your own bloody money, Roger. Okay. Looks like we stopped out this one. Oh no, the wrong one there. UID. Looks like we get stopped out this one. What the hell? Thank God it wasn't sent out. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, guys. What a way to start off today. Sorry, trading room guys. Mr. Gold's being so far okay, and the other one was about break even. This one suddenly shot off. Waits for me to go in, decides to go off. Last 15 minutes, just as we thought that's okay. That's only 1 hour, I know. What's the date? Well, there we are. So take that out. Sorry about that, guys. Not a nice way to start. Keep fingers for the others. But as always, sorry to be stuck on this, especially newer guys, get the position size calculator. So if you lose, it's annoying. It's not some the end of the world. You will take losses, but the only thing anybody will say it's going to happen of 100% certainty in this life is you're not going to win every bloody time. And then you do, really. So you can take losses. That's why you make sure your calculations are correct. You've got to know how to calculate what risk you're prepared to take. Each one's got a different risk profile. Make sure you fit in the discipline to risk profile. So if it goes wrong, you know it's high risk, speculative risk. So it just doesn't completely knock your account, so you don't know where you're coming and going. It's certain in that direction for a couple of moments, yeah. Nasty DAC, yeah. Okay. Not NASDAQ, but nasty DAC. I like it. Okay, so don't forget, guys, you're annoyed. You're not completely broken if you take a losing trade. Too many guys still doing that, and then sending me stuff in the trade. Well, it's your decision. It's your money to make sure you have the right risk profile and you're acting on a suggestion. I mean, everyone says they want to make $1 million, but then we'll take any personal responsibility. Fortunately, that's the trouble being a general. Millionaires, generals, people higher up, management or whatever, it's the responsibility side you got to take. Wish the government would learn that, eh? If you want to earn a lot of money, you've got to take responsibility. Governments, guys, ministers. And I see that quite a lot, you know, when you start blaming the lieutenants. No, the generals, the butt stops at the general. You can't start blaming your lieutenants. You can, but you still, you know, anyway. All right, so it's just coming to the close now. Sorry about Euro ED, screw up. Maybe the other ones, which like the Euro CAD that you decide to sell, looks like going right. What's that? 45.46. That's Zef trade. That's about even the bone, but maybe come right on that one. CHF was something I think somebody sold that. Let's see if you can come right with that one. Can't be tell on that. That's popping up a bit. But I'm too keen on those two, so we'll see what happens. Okay, all right, guys. I think that's about just coming up to the bewitching hour. So we are. Any question before we finish off? Okay, thanks, Mark. All right, just stop the share then. See you later, people. Good stuff. Great to have you as always. Thanks, Simon. And catch you later. Yes. Cheers, mate. Good. I thought the same, Ken. Thanks, mate. Good to have you back.